Everyone is special and unique in different ways. But let's be honest, not everybody is born to fit into a certain status quo in society. Biology says that humans must have certain traits: a head, two hands, two ears, and the rest. Well, there are people who've totally defied that blueprint. In fact, some people are born far beyond those conventions. In today's video, we're looking at 15 seriously rare, wildly different people in the world. And trust us, all of them are one in a million. Number 15. Macy and Mackenzie Garrison. Macy and Mackenzie are 22 now, two fiercely independent ladies who were once conjoined at the pelvis, born alongside their triplet sister Madeline. Just 9 months in, doctors performed a 24-hour surgery to separate them. Both girls were left with one leg each, and over the years they've faced more surgeries, spinal infusions, structural procedures, just to keep living life on their own terms. Macy once said, "We're so independent. We don't need anyone's help. We can do almost everything others can." And she meant it. Now they're hitting a major chapter: college. For the first time, they'll live on separate campuses, carving out their own space, figuring things out apart. Not because they need distance, but because they want growth. Mackenzie put it best: "I need to go for me. I want to know who I am by myself." After everything they've endured, the hard part isn't starting over. It's letting go of how far they've already come. Number 14. Lalit Ram. Lalit, known in his Indian village as the Elephant Man, has lived most of his life hiding his face. Born with neurofibromatosis, his facial tumors grew so large he became a ghost in his own town, stepping out only to face insults and stares. Local priests told him he'd never find a wife. Villagers called him Ganeshji, after the elephant-headed god. Others weren't nearly as kind. He found solace in a buffalo, his only pal, the one soul that saw past his face. But things changed when a leading plastic surgeon in Delhi, Dr. Vivek Kumar, offered to operate, for free. The surgery is risky, life-threatening even. But it gave Lalit something he hadn't had in years: hope. He once tried to end his life with rat poison. Now he dares to dream of marriage, of walking outside without shame, of being seen for who he is. When you've lived invisible, the idea of being seen is everything. But as of now, 2025, we have no idea where this elephant man is. Number 13. Lucas Starr. Lucas has a body that's been fighting since the day he was born. Giant congenital nevus covered his skin like armor he never asked for. Inside are hydrocephalus and neurocutaneous melanosis, rare conditions, brain lesions, pressure spikes, and constant hospital trips. And bullies are plenty. He has been through more than 15 surgeries just to keep breathing. In 2018, he was rushed to the ER with a brain tumor. He's been cut open, stitched back, and monitored every few months. But none of that defines him. Not to him. Lucas dreams of becoming a pro racing driver. He doesn't want pity, doesn't need filters. He's not an inspirational quote. He's a teenager from Alaska who keeps moving forward when most people would tap out. You want to follow his journey? Google him. Read his name. But don't bother asking ChatGPT for the story. Lucas already lived it, full throttle, and if life's a race, he's not slowing down for anyone. Number 12. Oliver and Harry Beswick. Oliver and Harry Beswick are twin brothers from Stoke-on-Trent, but you wouldn't call them identical in any sense. Born 2 months early, weighing just 3 pounds each, their lives began with a fight. Harry came into the world with Goldenhar syndrome, missing the entire left side of his face. As if that wasn't enough, he was later diagnosed with autism and functions at the level of a 4-year-old. But here's the thing: he's not missing a thing when it comes to love. Oliver, his brother, never pulled away. Their bond is stronger than any diagnosis. any difference. Their mom, Charlie, once said, "There's no such thing as perfect, and imperfectly perfect is more than enough." She's right. These two aren't here to fit into someone else's mold. They've got their own shape, their own rhythm, their own story, and they're living it fully, side by side, not as one stronger or weaker, but as a team that never stopped being whole. They are unique. Number 11. Landon Johnson. Landon isn't just rare, he's one in a million. At 15 years old, this 3-foot-tall teenager from Lincolnton has one of the rarest medical conditions ever documented. He lives with a form of primordial dwarfism so specific, doctors say only 28 people worldwide share it. DNA Ligas 4 deficiency. That means his growth is stunted and his immune system runs on fumes. Life isn't easy. Even after a bone marrow transplant, he still visits the hospital 3 times a week, can't go outside freely, and takes more medication than most adults. But Landon, still smiling, still fighting, still showing up with a spirit that refuses to shrink, even if his body does. His parents call him a miracle. Doctors call him a marvel. But Landon? He's just a kid trying to live his life, one brave day at a time. And if the world isn't quite built for someone like him, he's still showing it how to adjust. Number 10. Alexandra Guadallo. This girl from the Philippines was born with an ultra-rare genetic disorder called Abel-Ferrand macrostomia syndrome. In her case, it means she has no working eyelids. She sleeps with her eyes wide open. That leaves them exposed, dry, and constantly at risk. Her mouth is unusually wide, a condition known as macrostomia. Her ears are sunken into her skull, her fingers are misshapen, and her skin carries visible scars. Her teeth don't grow as they should. It all ties back to a mutation in the TWIST2 gene, which is responsible for how skin, nails, and hair form. It's a 1 in a million syndrome, barely understood, and without answers. Surgery was risky. One wrong move could leave her blind. So her care is all about protecting what she has. Financially, her family struggles. Her dad left after she was born. But Alexandra is still standing, still facing the world, still shining a light on rare conditions that most people have never even heard of. Number 9. Janice Green. Janice has been battling lymphedema her entire life, but lately, the war has hit a new level. The swelling in her right leg got so extreme, it weighed as much as a grown man, 150 pounds of trapped fluid, skin, and struggle. Doctors who've seen hundreds of lymphedema cases still say hers ranks among the most severe in the U.S. Her leg made walking almost impossible. Movement? A daily negotiation. Pain? Constant. And for years, that was the end of the story. But now, for the first time in decades, there's hope. A new therapy has surfaced. One that may finally ease the swelling and give Janice her body back. Not just her leg, her independence, her dignity, her space in the world. We don't know where she is today, but somewhere, we hope Janice is out there feeling just a little lighter. She's earned that relief. She's carried more than most people could imagine, and she's still standing. What do you think about? Well, let us know. Number 8. Elaine Davidson. Elaine isn't a performance, she's a philosopher. With over 11,000 piercings, she holds the Guinness World Record, but the record isn't the point. Born in Brazil, now living in Scotland, her journey started in 1997 with 1 piercing and 0 expectations. What followed wasn't fame. It was transformation. Her body became a canvas of steel and story, decorated from face to feet, in ways most people wouldn't dare imagine. Nose rings, studs, chains, tattoos, each one placed with intention. But Elaine doesn't do this to shock. She does it to reclaim, to declare ownership over her own body. Every piercing, a moment she chose. She's been in magazines, documentaries, tabloids, and through it all, she keeps repeating the same truth. It's not about attention. It's about freedom. Elaine doesn't soften her look to fit in. She sharpens it to stand out. She's not trying to make you comfortable. She's reminding you that comfort isn't the only goal. Number 7. Mercedes Talamantes. In 2018, doctors at Danbury Hospital faced one of the most staggering cases in modern medical history. A 132-pound ovarian tumor growing at nearly 10 pounds per week. It belonged to a lady who chose to stay anonymous, but her story made headlines across the world. The tumor had started just months earlier and quickly began compressing her organs. By the time she arrived at the hospital, time was running out. Led by Dr. Vong Andikian, a 12-person surgical team spent 5 hours removing the massive growth. Though technically benign, the tumor's sheer size made it lethal. It was filled with jelly-like fluid, consistent with mucinous tumors, and originated from the ovary's lining. The surgery didn't just remove a threat. It preserved her uterus and remaining ovary, leaving her fertility intact. These cases are unbelievably rare. But this one? It redefined what's possible when medicine, skill, and timing align. The woman's name, Mercedes Talamantes, and her survival wasn't just lucky, it was legendary. Number 6. Margaret Howe Lovett. The 60s were full of weird experiments, but this one still tops the list. Howe found herself in a dolphin house in the Virgin Islands, tasked with teaching a dolphin, Peter, how to understand human language. She lived with him, ate with him, and even slept in a partially flooded room to be close. And Peter? He got very attached. Soon he wasn't interested in speech lessons. He was fixated on Margaret. He began showing sexual behavior. And instead of halting the project, Margaret accommodated. Not out of romance, she later insisted, but to avoid derailing the bond. When funding dried up, Peter was sent to Miami. He didn't adjust. Days later, he sank to the bottom of his tank and stopped breathing. It was labeled a suicide. Margaret's story remains one of science's most bizarre, murky footnotes. Part curiosity, part tragedy, part cautionary tale. It's a line crossed, where good intentions ran straight into something no one fully understood. Number 5. Lauren Showers. Lauren wasn't supposed to live. Crushed by a forklift in a freak accident on a Montana worksite in 2019, the damage was beyond catastrophic. His lower body was destroyed. Doctors gave him a choice: let go or undergo a surgery no one his age had survived. He chose life. He underwent a hemicorporectomy, his body severed at the waist, and somehow came out fighting. Since then, he's faced infection, pain, and setbacks that would break most. But Lauren's grit hasn't wavered. With his wife, Sabia, by his side, he's rebuilt a new kind of life, one that includes swimming, laughing, documenting his journey, and proving wrong every grim prediction he was given. One video shows him nearly slipping under in a pool, Sabia panicking, raw proof of how fragile and fiercely protected his world is. But Lauren isn't here for pity. He's living out loud, fully present, fully aware. What he lost is unimaginable. But what he kept, that's where the miracle lives. Number 4. Sona and Mona Singh. Born in India in June 2003, Sona and Mona came into the world as conjoined twins, with 2 hearts, 4 arms, 2 spines, but only 1 pair of legs, 1 liver, and 1 gallbladder. At just 2 months old, their parents left them. Pingalwara, a shelter in Amritsar, stepped in and became their home. And what a home! It's where they grew up, laughed, pulled pranks, and earned a reputation for being full of life. Doctors at AIM said separating them would be too dangerous. It would likely mean death or severe disability. So, they stayed as they were. Together, they earned diplomas in electronics and now work as electricians for Punjab State Power Corporation. Early headlines claimed they got 2 salaries. Later, they cleared the air. It's one paycheck for both of them. Their story sparked real conversations about identity, fairness, and the right to be seen fully. Through it all, they stayed sharp, grounded, and full of fire. Number 3. Stefan Zolik. Most of us freak out over a zit. Now imagine dragging around a 13-pound tumor stuck to your face for over a decade. That was Stefan's daily life in Slovakia. His condition, Madelung disease, caused fat to pile around his jaw and neck like a suffocating collar. This wasn't some cosmetic nuisance. It was painful, constant, and crushing in every way. People gawked. He avoided mirrors. For 10 years he carried that weight. Then came a 5-hour surgery that finally freed him. When it was over, Stefan saw his chin for the first time in 10 years. He said it felt like being born again. His surgeon, Igor Homola, called it one of the toughest cases he'd seen. Well, Madelung isn't cancer, but it grows, and it doesn't stop without doing something very bad. For most, it's linked to genes or alcohol. For Stefan, it was pure bad luck and a second shot at life. Number 2. Andriati Putra. In Indonesia, Andriati Putra carries more than just weight. He carries 30 kilograms of tumors spread across his body from a condition called neurofibromatosis. It started as a small mark on his face when he was a child. Years passed. The growth never stopped. He hasn't seen a doctor in over 10 years. Surgery was too expensive. Blood donations, resources, he had none of it. Now, walking across the room feels like dragging boulders. He can't leave the house. He can barely sleep without shifting his own tumors for comfort. Yet he remains grounded. He finds peace in small things: his phone, music, and games. They bring him moments of normalcy in a life that never felt fair. When people stare, he calls it a test from God. Not bitterness, not anger, just acceptance and a quiet wish to make his family proud. Andriati doesn't beg for sympathy. He just gets up each day, tumors and all, and keeps going. That, in itself, is defiance. Number 1. Joseph Williams. Joseph came into this world with no lower jaw. Born in Chicago with autofacial syndrome, a condition so rare most doctors never even see it, he's never spoken a word. As a baby, surgeons tried to build what nature didn't give him, but every graft was rejected. He breathes through a hole in his neck and eats through a tube in his stomach. Life handed him isolation early, rejection, mockery. But Joseph didn't vanish. He became a welder, lives alone, speaks through sign language and written notes. In 2020, he married Vanna, the woman who saw the man behind the condition. And here's what really matters. He never asked the world to accept him. He accepted himself. His life isn't built on pity, it's built on raw self-worth. Joseph doesn't need a jaw to prove anything. His entire existence is a reminder that dignity doesn't ask for approval. It shows up, lives loud, and dares the world to look away. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you very soon.